The reading to writing units I have taught is Skellig at the beginning of the school year, and currently we're reading The Lost Magician by Piers Torday. With the Skellig unit, I did it for the full 30 days. So we had it in reading lessons where we would read the text and we would dissect it through Sat's questioning, and then in the English time we'd actually go through and do the writing or the drama activities, grammar-based and so forth. Reading to writing was very easy to use. As it's an editable unit, I was able to pull apart what I needed from the lesson, and we use Notebook here, so I would just pinch over across what I wanted and delete what I didn't need, and if it was more teacher notes, I would leave it off to the side for my co-partner to use from. Reading was a mixture of teacher-led reading, which started very heavily as teacher-led to kind of promote how we read a book aloud and how we make character sound and really think about the punctuation that's used in Read for Purpose. And then we read as the children would read with me. Sometimes we would read in partners. Sometimes the children might independently read a chapter. This whole unit is based heavily on multiple ways to discuss the elements within the text. So there was drama, there was hot seat activities, heavily group-based, whether it was the discussion of a single question or concept. Anytime themes were introduced, it was group effort where they were really unpicking the elements in the text that led to the theme that was being discussed or that they thought might be a part of the story. The Read and Writing program unpicks the grammar that is inside the book that might be useful within each section, and there is teacher guidance if there's an element of, fronted adverbials or semicolons for purpose and things like that. So that was a good guidance to kind of get me on the right track. And then I would look through that chapter or chapters we were going to be reading to further develop where I wanted to take my class with their grammar that week. We are a vocabulary school, so we explored the vocabulary quite in depth throughout both the Skellig unit and the Lost Magician unit. They are looking for words and adding it to their own vocabulary journals, in addition to the fact that there are days when I'm just giving them words from the book that might be difficult, and we unpick what that word means or how it was being used in the context of the story. The Read Into Writing program supported them in planning their writing. As mentioned earlier, the units are editable, so I was able to pull apart the different planning that was provided and how I might use it, and they also had all the coverage, national curriculum coverage, so I was able to link what elements I might want to use to enhance the writing, so that gave me a good guidance to start out. And they knew that the end result of the unit, as I provided them that information, they would eventually become like Torday or like Almond and try and recreate a story. We have written many different styles and genres of writing. They did monologues, diaries, they wrote continuations of the chapters, and then at the end they made a prequel, or they could have made a sequel depending on the element they wanted to take from it. With The Lost Magician, it's been more focused non-fiction, so they've written some recounts and general diary entries from the children's perspective to kind of get into their mindset and understand them better, but they've also written persuasive pieces. They've written non-fiction text supporting World War II and the themes that were kind of linked to that. They also recently have created balanced arguments on whether to join the Reds or the Unreds team and what that looks like. And now, most currently, they're going to be starting to write creative stories thinking of their own favorite book. But for the most part, the children were able to just sit down, put their head down and get into it, and they were very eager to. And if I was holding them back for some reason, they were a bit cross with me.